This film is John Dean's eyewitness account of Watergate. Scenes in the Oval Office are drawn from verbatim transcripts of White House tapes.
So, my friends, there's your answer. With your votes on November 3rd, you can tell America what the real majority thinks in this country.
The real majority spoke loud and clear. We lost 9 seats in the House, and 11 Republican states went Democratic.
I remember.
You're gonna stay here with me.
I am?
Yes, you am. And you're gonna finish decorating this place. And you're gonna start your new job.
It's a terrible job.
It's the way you get started in Washington.
It is?
It is. Something better will come up, I'll see to it.
Be together?
Yes.
Now, I know that many prominent Democratic officials are vulnerable to weaknesses of the flesh. We can compromise these officials through the charms of some ladies that I have arranged to have living on board. This will enable us to extract the kind of information we want.
Just a minute, Gordon. How are a bunch of whores going to compromise these guys at the convention? They're not that dumb.
These are not stupid broads. These women can be trained and programmed. These are the finest call girls in the country. And I can tell you, from first-hand experience...
I'm sorry. I was breaking the law, and I knew it, and I didn't feel a damn thing. I had moved into the inner circle of the President of the United States. I was going to grab all the power I could. I was going to possess any woman I wanted. I was climbing to the top of Macho Mountain, and I was 33 years old.
Not one card. Not a letter. Not a telephone call. Nothing. It's as if I don't even exist for you. Someday I ought to just pack off for Europe and let you cool your heels for a couple of weeks. Let you wonder, where's Mo? What's Mo doing? Who's Mo with?
Serve me right.
Yeah, it would.
Teach me to appreciate what I've got.
That's right. Anyway, it says you've got me.
What really hurts in matters of this sort is not the fact that they occur, because overzealous people in campaigns do things that are wrong. What really hurts is if you try to cover it up.
The president wants you to write the sort of report that'll put this whole thing to rest by saying simply, the White House wasn't involved.
If I do that, I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Go ahead.
Magruder's going to be indicted, Mitchell's going to be indicted, Ehrlichman's going to be indicted, Haldeman's going to be indicted, and Dean's going to be indicted.
On March 31st, 1973, John Dean, counsel to the President of the United States, met secretly with Charles Shaffer, a leading criminal lawyer. At that meeting, Dean began to tell Shaffer the full story of his involvement in those criminal activities known collectively as Watergate.
I sat in the White House and I told Haldeman if the truth came out, we'd all be indicted.
But you didn't consult a criminal lawyer.
No, Charlie, you're the first one I've talked to.
Damn fool.
It's awful late. You want me to continue?
You stop now, I'll kill you.
All right. New year, 1973. The men that broke into the Democratic National Headquarters at Watergate were about to go on trial, and of course we wanted them to plead guilty. All of them. They had to plead guilty. There was a trial, the dam would break, and the whole history of dirty tricks, illegal campaign funds, the plumbers unit, the IT&T, the wiretaps, the break-ins, the half-truths, the evasions, the lies would all come out. So they had to plead guilty. And somehow we had to find a way to keep Hunt, McCord, Liddy, and all the other Watergate burglars silent.
By using the hush money.
Not just that. We started to form a new plan. We thought perhaps we could say, all right, fellas, you take the rap, we'll take care of all your financial problems, and then someday in the not-too-distant future, maybe you can all look forward to clemency.
Only the president can grant clemency, John.
I know, Charlie. Every morning I'd get up, kiss Mo goodbye, and drive to the executive office building, and I'd wonder what new terrors were awaiting me there, just a few yards from the White House.
Morning.
Oh,
John Ehrlichman wants you to drop into his office.
okay.
You should know that Colson is with him.
Okay.
I've got to say, I feel sorry for Howard Hunt. With his wife dead, responsibility for all those kids. They're nice kids. He wants to plead guilty, but he needs some reassurance that he's not going to rot in jail.
I don't want you to get into specifics with anyone regarding clemency. I think it was back in July I talked to the president about this, and he told me he didn't want to talk about clemency for these Watergate people. Here's what I'll do now. I'll take it up with the president myself. I don't want you to talk to the president about clemency at all. You understand me, Chuck?
All nuts over there. The government can't recommend leniency for those guys. It's stupid. We'd be crucified. In fact, we're going to recommend that the book be thrown at them. Then we're going to take them back before the grand jury, immunize them, and try to force them to talk. That's what I told Kleindienst, and he wants me to tell Ehrlichman.
Never mind. I'll tell him myself. Henry Peterson is going to throw the book at the Watergate people, and it's going to hit us right in the face.
Calm down, John. Chuck here thinks he has the solution to all our problems.
I let Hunt know that he has a good friend here in the White House.
Who's that?
Me. I offered to take care of his children if he went off to prison like they were my own. Then I said I understood no man wanted to go to jail. And while I couldn't give him any hard commitment, I said a year is a long time, and clemency is something that's generally considered around Christmas time.
That's fine.
Does that mean Hunt's going to plead guilty now?
Yep.
All right, but that creates another problem.
What's that?
Well, word's bound to leak out to the other defendants that Hunt has some sort of clemency deal going, and they're all going to want the same thing. McCord's making threats now. Even Liddy might get nervous. What do we do for them and the other guys?
I think we should be fair about this. We'll give them the same assurances in the same way if necessary.
John, I need to tell you something.
What's that?
You know, Howard Hunt is my friend. I couldn't give him any assurances unless I felt I could back him up. I thought I had to take it up with the president to make sure I'm on firm ground, and I did. I talked to the president.
You talked to him about clemency for Hunt?
I felt that I had to.
All right, Chuck, I understand.
Hey, pal, it's getting late.
I wonder if I can make it.
You all right?
I'm not the leader, Mo. I get ahead with an organized mind and an ability to please my bosses. But at the core, what am I at the core?
You're the most wonderful man I've ever met.
I learned all the rules at military school. Head up, keep in step, march in a straight line, sneak your smokes at night. Sneak everything at night so that nobody can see.
What's happened?
Trial for the Watergate burglars begins today. Judge Siric is screening the jury.
And it's almost over.
Or just beginning.
Mr. Hunt, you pleaded guilty today to all counts. Does that mean the government's case against you is complete?
It is substantially correct. Can you tell us if there was a wider conspiracy?
Can you tell us if there were other higher government officials involved?
To my personal knowledge, there was not.
Does that mean there may have been others involved you didn't know about?
Not to my personal knowledge.
Mr. Hunt, why did you break the law?
Anything I may have done, I believe to be in the best interest of my country. I knew what I was doing. I understood the possible consequences. I accept them.
Mr. Hunt, Mr. Hunt, please.
One more question.
Mr. Hunt,
Please.
Mr. Hunt.
One more.
4 Watergate defendants admitted their guilt in federal court today. They denied being threatened or coerced and maintained that they had not been paid by anybody for anything.
Yes, sir. The reception tickets for the inauguration range from $15 to $25 per person.
Defendants had, in fact, revealed the whole truth. There is speculation
New York
in
burgundy
Washington.
for the official inaugural wine, but we would consider California
That would
right
be
now.
area
It would be
east, sir,
appropriate.
which is opposite the temporary
Yes, sir. I think we could get a early goodbye.
Well, I can't
As you
find
know,
the
the amount of New York burgundy would probably be
all right, you're going to spend more money?
Let me see now. That tickets in section A.
I have something in writing.
Well, that's plus
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Well, I'm sorry. That total amount, $16.
Repeat after me, please. I, Richard Nixon, do solemnly swear.
I, Richard Nixon, do solemnly swear
That I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
And will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ten seconds. All clear.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening. I've asked for this radio and television time tonight for the purpose of announcing that we today have concluded an agreement to end the war and bring peace with honor in Vietnam and in Southeast Asia. At 12:30 Paris time today, January 23, 1973, the agreement on ending the war and restoring peace in Vietnam was initialed by Dr. Henry Kissinger on behalf of the United States and Special Advisor Lee Duc-Tho on behalf of the Democratic Republic.
I think you should have lunch with Doctor.
Here you are, the newlyweds. So good to see you.
John, press his car like that. This could be some sort of action. Be an example. Prosecutor court instead of law. I think you should have like a sign.
Hello, Miss Brown. What was that all about?
You wouldn't believe it.
What?
He's mad as hell about some anti-war demonstrator who got too close to his car. The guy was harmless, and the Secret Service took care of it, but he's ordered me to prosecute.
Well, I suppose you'll have to.
It's ridiculous. There's no justification for a prosecution.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. The war was supposed to be ending, remember?
G. Gordon Liddy and James W. McCord, Jr. were convicted in the Watergate trial, but the dissatisfaction of Judge John J. Sirica indicates that questions remain to be resolved in this bizarre incident.
We were like soldiers. A little like Vietnam, I guess. We'd luck out of a firefight one place only to fight one someplace else. Everybody kept saying the war's over, but people were still being shot. And then Senator Sam Ervin began organizing his committee to investigate Watergate.
And you knew that Irvin intended to turn over every rock, right?
Oh, of course. That's why Ehrlichman flew a bunch of us to California. La Costa, no less.
Golf, swimming, tennis.
Strategy. How to control the Ervin Committee.
Well, we let the committee membership get out of our grasp.
We're not going to get much comfort from the Democrats, Ervin, Montoya, Talmadge, and Inouye.
That name's pronounced ain't no way. Ain't no way that man is going to give us anything but problems. As for the Republicans, Weicker could give us trouble. Gurney will help without being told because he's a sure friend, and anyway, Kramer's warming up to take him on in the next primary.
What about Baker?
Who knows which way he'll go?
Now, the key is the minority council. We've got to be sure that we get a real tiger, not an old man or a softhead. How do we handle it? Any words of wisdom, Mr. Richard Moore? Any good advice from John Mitchell?
As closely as I've worked with John Mitchell, I had no idea of the depth of it, the extent, the money, all of that.
It's more than Watergate, much more. Dick, I don't want you to get involved.
We do what we feel we have to do.
John, I've just learned that Time magazine is going to publish a story charging that the White House ordered wiretaps on reporters and White House officials from 1969 through 1971.
Damn it.
Where'd they get that little tidbit?
Well, Sullivan at the FBI doesn't know, but he says that all the logs of the tapes and the records were destroyed except one set that was sent to Mardian.
Is that so?
Now, Mitchell says he doesn't know anything about it.
So he says.
Let me be upfront about this, John. Mardian says that the president personally instructed him to give those logs and records to you.
And?
And he says he obeyed the president.
Fascinating story.
Do you have that material, John?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've got the wiretap logs in my safe.
Well, you know, this is going to come up like a bad dream. What can Ziegler tell the press?
Tell Ron to deny everything. It's simple. It never happened.
So good, you don't even get drunk.
And why worry?
I'm lonesome. I function normally as a sexual object.
It's impossible to be Don Juan when you're hanging on the edge of a cliff by your fingernails.
Well, then let go.
Villages vary throughout India, depending very much on location and climate.
I'm seeing the president tomorrow. It's the first time in over 5 months that he's called me in, and I'm supposed to be his lawyer.
Villages are scattered.
Are you scared?
No. I'm anxious. I need to talk to him. I need some guidance. No, don't, no. Please don't.
Mr. President.
Oh, hi.
What did the president say?
Charlie, I'm sorry, but I can't discuss my private meetings with the president.
I thought you wanted me to represent you.
I do, but I was his attorney. I'm still his attorney, and our private meetings are privileged.
Not under all circumstances.
They are under this circumstance.
All right. I'll respect that for now. But tell me this much. Did you, keep notes on your meetings with the president?
No.
Speak into a recorder, discuss it with friends, anything?
No, nothing.
That's unfortunate.
My memory functions like a movie projector. I can press a button and remember long portions of conversation practically verbatim.
Sure you can.
It's true, Charlie. Absolutely true. Sometimes I wish I could damn well forget.
My friend, I would suggest that you set aside your own sentimental bathos and hang on to your memories and hang on very tight.
Between February 27th and March 21st, 1973, I met with President Nixon 14 times, primarily to discuss Watergate and related business. At first, I was elated to be with him. After a while, though, I became disturbed. The president asked questions I'd already answered. He repeated himself. At times, he had bursts of logical, lucid thinking. Much of the time, however, he rambled. He relived the Hiss case, detailing again and again how he had to overcome incredible odds to catch Alger Hiss in a treasonable crime. He discussed the possibility of launching a counter-scandal against the Democrats, and he ordered me to bring him evidence of wiretaps and surveillance by previous administrations. However, he was never satisfied. We discussed his friend J. Edgar Hoover and compared him to L. Patrick Ray, who was making a fiasco of his confirmation hearings. He discussed the Irvin Committee endlessly. His evaluation of Senator Irvin, the importance of influencing Senator Baker, the absolute necessity of limiting testimony by invoking executive privilege. The depth of his Watergate knowledge was frightening. He knew the danger of Magruder's testimony to Colson and Sloan's to Magruder. He definitely understood the links to Colson and Mitchell. Kalmbach, he said, was vulnerable. Segretti was a clown. And when he discussed the convicted Watergate burglars, particularly E. Howard Hunt, he did, in fact, touch on the issue of clemency. And through it all, I tried to please, as I always try to please. I repressed my fears. I spoke more hopefully than I felt. But I should say that I did not deliberately lie. Not once. Not ever. Between February 27th and March 21st, 1973, I met with President Nixon 14 times, primarily to discuss Watergate and related...
Mr. President, yesterday, Senator Tunney suggested that he might ask John Dean to appear to testify about the Watergate case and the FBI White House relationship. Would you object to that?
Of course.
Why?
Well, because it's executive privilege. You can't... I, of course, no president could ever agree to allow a counsel to the president to go out and testify before a committee. On the other hand, as far as any committee of Congress is concerned...
They can't make you testify, John. No way.
Not so sure of that. I'd hate to force a court test on executive privilege.
Nonsense. You're counsel to the president.
Till last week, I hardly saw him.
That I could not vote for Mr. Gray if Mr. Dean did not come down and testify to our committee, so that we have a better understanding of just exactly where Mr. Dean was positioned in this investigation.
Could the appearance of Dean wrap up your case?
Well, I haven't heard the witnesses in opposition yet, but I would say that Mr. Dean is fundamental to this investigation, just absolutely fundamental. And I want to know what Mr. Dean's total relationship was with the investigation, and how he perceived his relationship with Mr. Gray, and whether or not Mr. Gray took instructions from him, and just the whole composite of events that led to Mr. Dean being so omnipresent. Why? Why?
I think you should put out the statement on executive privilege immediately, because it should not look like, a response to the Senate, but rather as a statement of long-standing policy.
The FBI probe of Watergate under my direction was as exhaustive an investigation as the FBI has ever conducted, or is capable of conducting within the four walls of its jurisdiction.
Stand very firm on the tale that you delivered every document from Hunt Safe to the FBI.
I understand.
And then, John, all we have to do with Pat Gray is let him hang there and twist slowly, slowly in the wind.
Well, I was in with the president this morning, and that's exactly where he's coming from.
Mr. Dean, how well do you know Donald Segretti?
I'm sorry, fellas, no comment.
John, we know that Herb Kalmbach gave Segretti up to $40,000. Now, can you tell us where the money came from?
The president talked about that the other day, Pat. I'm sorry, I have nothing to add. Good night.
What did you do with the FBI reports, Mr. Dean?
Why doesn't the president just insist that whoever's involved in this Watergate mess step forward and take his medicine?
I can't speak for the president.
Well, why did you have to see the FBI reports?
Because I was conducting an investigation for the president.
You mean the Dean report?
That's right.
But you never conducted that investigation. You told me there never was a Dean report.
The president says there was one, Mo.
No, it's been weeks since we've been out. John looks like a monk in a monastery. And I sit home like a frog on a log.
You kind of open the door before the guests arrive and waft it through.
Well, the one thing worse than being a woman at home is being a man at the office.
I don't believe that. I enjoy working. I always have.
Now that is
You worked?
the only thing I have.
Most of my life.
Well, if you insist, but it's fantastic. John, come on, what's been happening to you? You're not talking at all.
Still in all, there is one thing a woman can do that a man can never manage, and that's give birth. That is how it's organized.
Mr. Attorney General, may I say, you have one of the great minds of the 16th century.
Well, Mo, it was a damn good century.
Oh, I'm sorry to have to go so early.
You got a hard day tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm glad you came for a little.
Thank you, Dick. Marty, it was wonderful. Your wine was too good. Hope I didn't make a darn fool of myself.
Oh, never, Mo. I enjoyed it.
Thank you both.
I know it's rough, being up front right now and taking all that flack. You gotta hold yourself together and think before you do anything. Well, if things get rough, I want you to come see me, Junior. Remember that.
I might take you up on it.
All right.
Thanks very much.
So Mr. Gray has testified that he passed some 80 FBI reports to Mr. Dean. Well, we can't cross-examine a piece of paper. I think he ought to come down here and tell us whether or not he leaked some of those reports. And if any attempt is made to invoke this novel doctrine of executive privilege, I would recommend to the committee that it pass a resolution declaring that man in contempt of the Senate. And if he ignores that resolution, I would send the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Senate to arrest him and let the Senate try him.
John? I've been trying to get in touch with you all weekend.
Okay, I'll look into it and get back to you. Thank you. I'm always available, Paul. Sit down. What's on your mind?
Well, I've got some pretty heavy stuff. That's not such good news.
What's that?
Well, Howard Hunt is not a very happy man.
What else is new?
Well, he said sentencing is coming up for him, and he's got to get his life in order pretty damn quick. He said Tell John Dean I need $72,000 for support and $50,000 for lawyer's fees.
Why me? What the hell did he send that message to me for?
I don't know, John. He just said, tell Dean I need the money by the close of business Wednesday. If I don't get it, I'll have some seamy things to say about what I did for John Ehrlichman while I was at the White House.
Are you serious, Paul? He's sending that message to me?
He sure is.
Well, you can save your breath, pal. Because I'll tell you something, I don't plan to do a damn thing about that. I'm out of it, I plan to stay out of it, and you can tell Hunt to shove it.
Oh, look, John, I don't think it's directed at you. It's a message to be passed along.
Well, I'll be damned if I'm gonna pass it on. We're both up to our teeth in an obstruction of justice here. We've been passing these damn messages back and forth, and now we're in big trouble. You know that, don't you?
I know we've got problems, but I'm just passing the message along.
It's extortion, that's what it is.
I know, I'm fed up with it. It keeps going on and on.
It's like some sort of tumor, I guess. It's like a cancer.
That's right, and the president better do something about it quick. I tell you, to say the least, he's being ill-served by his aides, all of us. Can't go on much longer like this, Dick.
I agree with you.
See, I don't know if the president really understands all the facts involved in the Watergate. I don't really know if he comprehends the implications of the facts. I don't know, I think maybe I should lay it all out for him somehow.
Are you asking for my advice?
I guess I am.
Do it. Good night, John.
Fred? John, I'm glad you're here because I have some reports that I would... What's wrong?
It's gonna blow, Fred.
What?
The whole Watergate mess is about to explode. A lot of people are gonna get hurt. I just want you to know and be careful.
Can't be that bad.
It is, believe me.
Fill me in. Let me help.
I can't. I gotta go home.
John, we're partners. And we're supposed to be friends.
Can you give me a lift home?
Of course.
I just can't face those reporters
No,
tonight.
no, whoa. I understand.
Okay. If you can let me use your house, you know, to get around, could you do that for me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hi, Marie.
Hi, John. How are you?
Just passing through.
Hi, darling.
Hello, sweetheart.
Thanks, Fred. Good night.
You're welcome, John. Night.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, John.
Where the
Yeah.
devil did you come from?
We've been waiting for you.
Hey, Mo, how about a scotch? Great big one, huh?
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Get down here and kiss your neglected bride. John, if you don't mind my saying, you look even worse than usual.
Thanks, Carol. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'll get it. Dean
sorry.
resident? Yes. Yes, he is. He just came in, as a matter of fact. Just a minute. John? I think you want to take this.
Who is it?
The president.
Hello? Speaking. Hello, Mr. President. Fine, thank you, sir. Yourself? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was thinking the same thing myself. Well, sir, I think...
Did the president call your office?
Yes, sir. I was thinking if it's not inconvenient for you, sir, I'd like to come in, you know, and just sort of draw all my thoughts together with you. You remember I told you things might get rough?
I know.
No, you don't. There has been for a very long time a cover-up of illegal and unethical activities. And I have to tell the president all about it.
He's a president. He knows.
I don't know for certain what he knows and what he doesn't know, and I don't even know if I should, but I'm going to lay it all out for him. Give him a chance to get out in front of it.
In front of what? All you've done is what the president and his people told you to do.
Maybe. Listen, honey. Some people, friends of ours, are going to have to go to jail.
I don't believe that.
I may have to go to jail.
No, that's impossible.
We have to face it.
No, I can't hear that. I don't want to hear that. No. No, I don't believe it. No.
It's the truth. I have to tell him.
I can't feel it. I can't.
There's no doubt about the seriousness of the problems we've got. We have a cancer within, close to the presidency, that's growing. It's compounding. It grows geometrically now because it compounds itself. That'll be clear as I explain, you know, some of the details of why it is. And it basically is because, one, we're being blackmailed, and two, people are going to start perjuring themselves very quickly that have not had to perjure themselves to protect other people and the like. And that is just, and there's no assurance that...
that it won't bust?
That it won't bust.
They're here!
What's the matter? I told you Hun Gray's mistaken and confused.
It's not what they printed.
I know. Hello?
John, this is Paul. Where are you?
Surrounded by reporters.
That Pat Gray business is very unfortunate. Is he going to retract?
No, I doubt it. He's a stubborn man.
How's Mo taking it?
Very quietly.
Good. Now listen, John, I'm sorry to unload on you, but Judge Ricker has just read a letter from McCord in open court. I don't have the complete text here, but McCord charges that there was perjury committed at the Watergate trial, that hush money has been paid, and that higher-ups were involved in the break-in.
That's wonderful, Paul.
How much does McCord know?
It's hard to tell. He wasn't on the take, so it's hearsay. And there's probably not too much damage legally, but the press will have a field day. Hello?
Hello, John. How are you?
I'm all right, Mr. President.
Well, you were certainly right yesterday when you said something was going to break. I think, though, that McCord is a hell of a lot better than Hunt.
Oh, there's no question about that, Mr. President.
Listen, John, I want to suggest, I'd like to suggest that you probably need some time to analyze this situation. I'd like you to go to Camp David, take your wife, get some relaxation.
Oh, I appreciate that very much, Mr. President. It's very kind of you. I know that Mrs. Nixon and Tricia are up there, and I wouldn't want to intrude.
That's no problem. I'm aware, know that you've been under rather intense pressure lately. But I've been through this all of my life, and you cannot let it get to you.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Sad Sack, let me ask you a question. How would you like to spend a week with me at Camp David? Madam, you have a personal invitation from the President of the United States to spend a week at Camp David with me. What do you got to say for yourself?
Really?
Really?
When?
Right now. They're sending a limousine around for us.
Really?
You better hurry up and pack.
Oh, my goodness. Wait, what do I wear to Camp David?
You asking me?
Oh.
Mrs. Nixon and Tricia will be there, too.
We're foolish to stay locked in the house like that. We should get out like this more often.
Doesn't change anything.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. I saw the President just 2 days ago. I explained everything to him for nearly 2 hours. And it didn't help at all.
You're wrong, John. That's why he sent us here. To show his gratitude.
Wasn't like that, Mom. Wasn't like that at all. So that's it. That's the extent of the knowledge. Now, where are the soft spots on this? Well, first of all, there's the problem of the continued blackmail.
Right.
Which will not only go on now, it'll go on when these people are in prison, and it will compound the obstruction of justice situation. It'll cost money. It's dangerous. People around here are not pros at this sort of thing. This is the sort of thing mafia people can do, washing money, getting clean money, things like that. We just don't know about that because we're not used to, we're not criminals and not used to dealing in that business.
That's right.
It's a tough thing to know how to do.
Maybe we can't even do that.
That's right. It's a real problem as to whether we can even do it. Plus, there's a real problem in raising money. Mitchell has been working on raising some money, feeling he's one of the ones with the most to lose. But there's no denying the fact that the White House, Ehrlichman, Holloman, Dean are all involved in some of the early money decisions.
How much money do you need?
Well, I would say these people are going to cost $1 million over the next 2 years.
We could get that?
Uh-huh.
The money, if you need the money. You could get the money. Let's say...
Well, I think that we're going to...
What I meant is you could get $1 million. And you could get it in cash. I know where it can be gotten.
Uh-huh.
It's not easy, but it can be done. But the question is, who the hell would handle it?
That's right.
Any ideas on that? Any ideas on that?
bedroom is this way.
Okay.
This thermostat controls both the air
Hello?
conditioning and the heating.
Hello?
Closets are over here.
Yeah, hi, Bob. Just walked in. It's beautiful.
Oh, good. Listen, while you're up there, the president wants you to take a shot at writing up that report on Watergate.
Well, are we talking about a report for internal use or for issuing to the public?
Don't know yet.
It makes a big difference in how I write it, Bob.
Oh, well, give it your best shot and we'll decide later.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
And if you need anything, Mrs. Dean, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. John, let's change. Let's go outside. Let's explore this place. Let it rain.
No, I can't.
Come on, John. Let it rain.
on.
Obstruction of justice role. I don't see it.
Well, I've been a
I
conduit.
can't see it, you're...
I have been a conduit for information on taking care of people out there who are guilty of crime.
Oh, you mean like, oh, the blackmail.
Blackmail, right.
Well, I wonder if that part of it can be, I wonder if that doesn't, let me put it frankly, I wonder if that doesn't have to be continued. Well, let me put it this way. Suppose you get, you get the $1 million, and you get the proper way to handle it, and you could hold that side.
Uh-huh.
It would seem to me that would be worthwhile. Now, we have, one problem.
Well, that's,
You've got a problem here. You've got the problem of Hunt and his clemency.
That's right. And you're going to have the clemency problem with the others. They all would expect to be out, and that may put you in a position that's just untenable at some point. You know, the Watergate hearing's just over. Hunt now demanding clemency, or he's going to blow, and politically it'd be impossible for, you know, you to do it after everybody, you know,
Right.
I'm not sure you'll ever be able to deliver on the clemency. It may be just too hot.
You can't do it until after the '74 election, that's for sure. But even then, your point is, even then you couldn't do it.
That's right. It may further involve you in a way you shouldn't be involved in this.
No, it's wrong, that's for sure.
Well, whatever. You know, there have been some bad judgments made. There have been some necessary judgments
Before the election.
Before the election. And in a way, the necessary ones, you know, before the election.
Right.
Where, you know, there was...
Yeah.
To me, there was no way...
Yeah.
That,
yeah.
But to burden this second administration...
We're all in on it.
It's something that is not going to go away.
No, it isn't.
It is not going to go away, sir.
You think we want to go this route now and let it hang out, so to speak?
Well, it isn't really that.
It's a limited hangout.
It's a limited hangout.
It's a modified limited hangout.
Well, the question is whether the thing, the question is the thing hanging out publicly or privately.
What it's doing, Mr. President, is getting you up above and away from it, and that's the most important thing.
Oh, I know, but I suggested that the other day, and we all came down on, remember, we came down on the negative on it. Now, what's changed our mind?
The lack of alternatives, or a body.
We went down every alley. Let it go over.
Well, I feel that at the very minimum, we've got to have the Dean statement. And let's look at it, whatever the hell it is. If it opens up doors, it opens up doors, you know.
John says he's sorry he sent those burglars in there. That helps a lot.
That's right.
You are very welcome, sir. Just glad the others didn't get caught.
Yeah, the ones we sent to Muskie and all the rest, Jackson, Hubert.
John? John? I've been looking for you.
I was just wandering around.
You need a jacket.
No, it's not fine.
No. I haven't been much help. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You're in desperate trouble.
Yes, I am.
The president. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
You wanted to warn him. That's what you've been trying to tell me.
Exactly.
You did warn him.
Yeah, I did.
And you told him everything.
Yeah.
Now tell me.
It's Ehrlichman's idea to protect the president by having me write a report that says everything's okay and nobody at the White House has any problems.
Which isn't true.
Of course not. I'm supposed to lie and say everything's square so when it blows, they can say John Dean lied to the president. John Dean covered up. John Dean is Watergate.
John, don't write that report.
There's something else. Ziegler called before. Post and the Times are releasing a story tomorrow saying I was involved in the Watergate burglary.
Oh, my God.
I think the White House leaked that story. They're shifting the facts now to make it look worse for me while they cover their tracks.
What are you going to do, John?
I don't know. Sometimes I wish we could just hop on a plane and take off for anywhere and leave the whole damn business behind. You're right, Mo. I'm not gonna write any Dean report. I'm not gonna lie anymore.
That's good, John. I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Driving back, I watched Mo push it all out of her mind again. Like I've been trying to do for so long. Too long. And then I decided to consult the best criminal lawyer available and to seek his advice and counsel. That's the whole story, Charlie. What do you think?
John, my boy, you're guilty as hell. Now, hear me. You're in big trouble. Serious trouble. All right. Here's the way I analyze the situation. Now, first of all, you have no problem with what happened before the Watergate break-in.
June 17th, 72.
Right. But post-June 17th, like I said, you're guilty of conspiring to obstruct justice. Now, you may like to think of yourself as just a little guy carrying out orders, but the counsel to the president is no little guy outside the White House. Technically, you're as much a part of the conspiracy as Haldeman, Ehrlichman, Mitchell, and whoever. The question I've got to ask you now is, what do you want to do?
Well, I thought about it, Charlie, and I think the best thing to do is just go down and see the prosecutors and lay the whole thing out for them and see what happens.
Why?
Well, it's the best way I know to end it.
And have you thought what that might do to the president?
Boy, I'll say I have. But it's still the best course of action I've been able to come up with. I figure if I go down there and explain my situation...
No. First, I want to find out what's really happening and where the hell we are. I'm going to call Silbert and Glanzer and go down and see them.
Oh, wait a minute, Charlie. If you do that, they're going to report it to the White House, and the president will think I'm doing a number on him.
Now, look, let's get something straight right now. If I'm going to represent you, we're going to handle this case my way. You either trust me or you don't.
I hear you.
With a little luck and the right moves, I might be able to keep you out of jail and save your license to practice law. Is that understood, or do you start looking for another lawyer?
Understood.
I'm going to call Glanzer.
It's after 12, Charlie.
Good. He'll be home. You relax. Seymour. Yes? There's your friend Charlie Shaffer. Do you know what time it is, Charlie? I certainly know what time it is. Now, Seymour, you need to talk to me, and you don't know how badly you need to talk to me. And I don't care. I'm sleepy. Yeah, I know. We've all got problems, but I'm about to give you some more. Now, Brother Glanzer, I'm about 45 minutes away from your house. I don't care if you're only 5. Yeah, you put on the coffee, because I'm coming over to see you. Are you out of your mind? If you think I'm getting out of this... He's going to keep on talking, but he'll see me. By the way, is your office bugged?
I don't know. I doubt it, though.
Well, I'm coming over to see you tomorrow. Never been to the White House. I'd like to see it. Seymour, be a good fellow. Will you stop talking and start making the coffee? What's it all about, for heaven's sake?
Have you finished your Camp David report yet?
No, Bob, not yet, but I'm still working on it. I did finish the Segretti section.
Good, good. Have that dexed out to me right away, but I need that Watergate report.
Well, it's no picnic, but I'll stay on it. Listen, Bob, since I came back here, I want you to know I've talked to a lawyer.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
Charlie Shaffer. I think it's the only thing to do. I think he can help me figure out what everyone else's criminal liabilities are. I mean, you know, we just don't have a good criminal lawyer around here.
I want to hear about that. Find out whatever you can. But stay on that report.
All right, Bob, I will. Fine.
Flanders says they're trying to find out who authorized the bugging and the break-in. They're, tracking on Mitchell and Magruder. And they also suspect Colson and you.
Why me?
McCord says you approved the bugging along with Mitchell and
McCord
Magruder.
doesn't know what he's talking about.
Precisely, that's what I told Glanzer. Now, here's what I've done. I've arranged for you to meet with the prosecutors. I think I've arranged a fair deal. Now, these guys might change their minds when they hear you out. I don't know, but I think it's worth a try. You willing to go down there and lay out the facts for them?
I don't know, Charlie. I don't like it. I can't do it unless I nail Haldeman, Ehrlichman, and John Mitchell.
I don't give a damn about the others, John. It's your neck or theirs. Now, who do you want to save?
Me, of course, but I still don't like it.
Do you think they're going to protect you?
I don't know. Probably not. Listen, I want you to know something. A lot of guys like Parkinson, Marty, and O'Brien and myself came into this thing free and clear, and then we started protecting our clients, and we all fell into the cover-up trap. You got to be careful, Charlie. I don't want that to happen to you.
No, you don't have to worry about me, my boy. I can take care of my own skin. Now, are you ready to go meet with the prosecutors?
Well, one more thing. I want to tell Haldeman.
Why, in heaven's name?
Because I owe it to him. Not to Ehrlichman, but to Bob.
Okay, John, I understand. Yeah, we'll talk just as soon as I get back. But listen, when it comes to talking to the prosecutors, just remember, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's going to be very tough to get back in.
John, the prosecutors understand the ground rules. No notes will be taken. Nothing you say here will later be used against you. And finally, John will not talk about his dealings with the president, and you will not report these meetings to the White House.
That's right.
That's our understanding.
All right, John. Tell Messrs. Silbert, Glanzer, and Campbell what happened. Give them an education.
Well, it all started on my first day in the White House.
You said that at the second meeting, you stopped Gordon Liddy from discussing his illegal schemes in the office of the Attorney General?
That's right.
And yet you say that those very schemes were the basis for Watergate.
No, Earl, let me explain.
Hold it 1 minute, John. Now, this conversation is off the record, so I'm going to tell you this much. Liddy has been talking to us privately. Nobody knows. But, John, your story's got to square with his.
Well, what's he been telling you, Earl?
No, I can't tell you that. Liddy's conversation is just as privileged as yours.
All right.
It's okay. We don't care what Liddy says. If he tells the truth, you'll know my man wasn't in on this.
That's right. Let me explain something about Liddy. I'm not, and I wasn't at that time his immediate superior. The deal I was
just a
offering
minute, John.
was simply legal advice.
It's for you. You want to take it in the outer office?
No, I'll take it here. It's fine. Thank you. Hello? Yes, speaking. Oh, hi, Bob. Yeah, okay, I'll be there. I say that's affirmative. Right. Bye-bye. It's a call from Air Force One. Haldeman and Ehrlichman want me to meet him at the White House right away. I'm afraid I'll have to break this up for now. I think you ought to know my lawyer's been talking with the prosecutors, and they're on the trail. Apparently, Liddy's been doing some talking.
Really?
Yes, I don't know what he said.
Interesting.
Shaffer says they're reviewing how we handled evidence here at the White House. You know, like the stuff from Howard Hunt's safe and all.
What do you mean?
Well, they're going to want to know why we delayed so long in turning that evidence over to the FBI. You remember, we talked about it here. You told me to deep six the sensitive material, and I put it in the car, and then later we decided to hand it over to Pat Gray personally. We did it right here.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. Tell him you were making an inventory and you held the stuff. He'll think of something.
Well, Liddy may tell them how I passed on your order to get Howard Hunt out of the country.
John, I just don't remember that. I'm sorry, but I just don't remember it that way.
You know, if Liddy blows, he could hurt us all very badly. He knows about the Ellsberg deal. He knows about the money. He knows about Watergate.
John.
He knows...
You haven't told the prosecutors anything about that money, have you?
No, Bob, I haven't.
Now, wait a minute, John. Wait a minute. You're all the way up to November. Now, I want to go step by step from June. How did this money thing come up? One day at a time.
You mentioned June 20th in Mardian's study.
Well, Mardian said that Liddy told him that he expected his people in jail to get some financial support.
And did you give them support?
No, I did. But I you know, passed messages back and forth, and eventually we did come up with some money for them.
Okay, that's enough. Now look, this is not the Dean report you're giving these men with all that self-serving bull. I want you to tell these guys the ugly realities of life. Don't try to tell them what a nice guy you are, because they're not going to believe you. Unless you want them to indict you, lay it out. Tell them how you were up to your neck in finding hush money. You got it?
All right.
Counselor, good night.
Right.
Good night, Charlie.
See you later. Don? Anything wrong?
I don't know. Mo's not answering the phone. I haven't seen her for 2 days.
You told her you were staying with me.
Yeah, sure.
Well, maybe she's taking in a movie.
No, she wouldn't leave the house with all the reporters out there.
Well, maybe Fred Fielding knows where she is.
Maybe.
Hello?
Oh, Fred, this is John. Listen, have you seen Mo?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'm getting a little worried. She's not answering the phone.
She may have gone out. Wait, I'll look. The lights are on. Do you want me to go over?
No, it's all right. I'm on my way home. I gotta go, John.
Now, hang on a minute. The prosecutors don't believe your story that Pat Gray destroyed the documents from Hunt's safe.
I can't help that. It's the truth.
It's your word against the former acting director of the FBI.
He's a liar, John.
Got an idea to run by you. Take a lie detector test.
You convince Sam or you?
If it doesn't come out right, we bury it.
All right, I'll do it.
Mo? 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 Hey, I've been trying to eat you for hours. Are you okay, hon?
Not okay.
What's the matter?
You.
What do you mean?
Just what I said. You.
I don't understand. I've been with Charlie, you know that.
Don't lie. I don't want to hear your lies anymore. I know what you've been doing. You've been fooling around.
What? What are you talking about?
Women, girls. You know, damn you know what I'm talking about.
You gotta be kidding, Mo. I've been with Charlie Shaffer and the government prosecutors, spilling my guts out for the last 2 days.
Sure you have.
You know damn well I have. Call Charlie and ask him yourself if you don't believe me.
I want to talk to Charlie.
Well, I'm gonna call him, at least tell him you're all right.
Go ahead.
Why didn't you answer the phone? Why didn't you answer the phone, damn it? Mo, listen. Honey, I need your help. I'm telling you the truth, Mo. I swear to God I am. Please believe me. Baby, I need your help now.
Is the tourniquet supposed to be this tight?
Yeah, that's normal. I'll continue, okay? Looks great. Did you turn documents from Howard Hunt's safe over to Pat Gray?
Yes.
Was Ehrlichman with you when you turned over the documents?
Yes.
Did that transpire in Ehrlichman's office?
Yes.
Did Mr. Gray later tell you he had destroyed the documents you had given him?
Yes.
The same documents you took from Howard Hunt's safe?
Yes.
Well, son, from now on, if there's any question about who's telling the truth around here, you're going to get on that box. I already called Silbert Glanzer, told him he passed with flying colors. You should be flying high, my boy.
I'm not looking forward to talking to John Mitchell.
Prosecutor's got a proposition for you.
What's that?
Well, they got this little hidden microphone they'd like you to put up your sleeve and get Mitchell on tape.
You can tell him to go to hell. It's hard enough for me to turn on Mitchell. I'm not going to set him up like a mafia informant.
So be it.
Thank you. I tell you, when I was up at Camp David, I thought about leaving the country, just taking off.
Well, tell me where you were thinking of going. Maybe I'd like to join you.
I had no idea. But I wouldn't leave without Mo.
How's your wife holding up under all this?
Not very well. It's one of the problems. Our marriage is falling apart. It's become a disaster. She never expected anything like this. The depth of it, the effect it's having on us. She's very depressed. There's a lot more pressure on me to be the kind of man she thinks I am.
I'm sorry to hear it. I can understand.
You know, the idea of testifying against you is not very pleasant for me. I want you to know that. But it may come to that if I'm subpoenaed before the grand jury. Cover-up's got to end, John. Everybody's protecting themselves now, and I've got to do the same thing. That's why I hired a lawyer. I can't afford to be the scapegoat for all this.
Oh, don't get the impression I think you should take the rap for others. But I do think your testimony could cause serious problems for the president.
He's going to have them no matter how I testify.
Well, maybe the best thing for you to do is to avoid testifying altogether.
What do you mean?
Thought about taking the fifth?
Oh, yeah, sure, but that would only cause more problems for me and the president. Besides, they could immunize me and force me to testify.
And there's always a possibility of your raising attorney-client or executive privilege.
No, John. It's not applicable in this case.
How are you going to handle the activities that occurred after the break-in?
Well, you know, if they question me under oath, just gonna have to tell the truth. I mean, it's the only way. I have to get back to the office. I'd like to suggest something for what it's worth. I think you better get yourself a lawyer. I'll tell you, I feel a lot better now that Shaffer's looking out for me.
Well, I'll see. If anyone tries to charge me with anything, I'm just gonna stonewall it. Good luck.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thanks, I'll need it.
I don't see her, Liz. Yummy pal, how are you?
Thanks for coming. Thank you for having us. Oh, you're wonderful to vacation with us, with me.
Hey, come on, I'm your old buddy, remember?
I can't believe you're here.
In Washington.
Hello, Jane. Tell him I'm here, will you?
You look wonderful.
Thank you. The hunt is at 11.
Ehrlichman is meeting with Mitchell and Magruder to try and get them to take the heat. Now, I'm afraid they're going to come up with a scapegoat, and I think it might be me, so I need some protection, Charlie.
Well, maybe you ought to rattle the cage a little bit, let them know the cover-up is over.
How do we do that?
Well, I wonder if anyone would be interested to know that, in my opinion, which is highly regarded in such matters, the following officials are liable to criminal prosecution, to wit: Mitchell, Magruder, Strong,
LaRue, O'Brien, Kalmbach, Haldeman, Ehrlichman, Dean, and Ulasowitz. Also probably Mardian, Parkinson, Colson, Bittman, and Stans. The underlying irony is that 10 out of the 15 people I've named are lawyers.
I wonder if someone might be slipping something putrid into your diet. I don't believe your damn list. I just don't agree with your lawyer's analysis.
These are very serious offenses, gentlemen. They carry 5-year sentences and $5,000 to $10,000 fines. You can check the statutes here if you have any doubt.
Most of the people on your list are there for the post-break-in period. Now, why is that?
Because of the cover-up, John. We are all targets of the grand jury.
No. That's not what the grand jury's doing.
You know my lawyer's been down there talking to the prosecutors.
He's misinformed. Kleindienst says they're going after people involved before the break-in.
Kleindienst is misinformed.
We'll see what we can find out.
Meanwhile, keep that damn list to yourself.
Jack found a friend and borrowed a spare chair and fixed my bicuspid. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. Hey, thanks for looking after Mo, Jack. I appreciate it.
Oh, not at all. It's always a pleasure to look down Mo's throat.
My dentist says the same about me.
Hey, you know what I'd like to do while we're here?
Pull a wisdom tooth.
No. No, I'd like to go to the track and win some money.
That sounds great.
Have you been to the races lately, John?
John, everything's falling apart. The prosecutors are breaking our agreement.
What do you mean?
Well, they're going to tell Peterson what we've been talking about.
You're kidding. When?
Tonight. And then they're going over to Kleindienst's house.
Charlie, they made a deal.
I know.
Oh, that's great. President will know everything by tomorrow morning, and Ehrlichman will come marching in there, and the president will say Dean's a sucking rat, and they'll close ranks, and the only cover-up left will be the one against me.
I know.
I have to talk to the president first. I'm going to call his secretary. It's the only way I can reach him without being blocked by Holdeman.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Rose Woods cannot be reached at present. She's attending a funeral in Pittsburgh.
Okay, would you please tell her to call me? It's urgent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, Counselor.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning,
Charlie.
Well, let me begin by saying that you breached our agreement, you panicked, you broke your word not only to my client, but to me. You acted dishonorably and inexcusably, and furthermore...
Now, look here. We had an obligation to inform Peterson, and he had to brief the Attorney General. Now, who do you think we work for?
Nuts. When I make an agreement, I stick by it.
I'm tired of hearing about this great obstruction case your client's supposed to have for us. His story's jumbled and disjointed. Now, why haven't you given us something we can really sink our teeth into?
Hello?
Hi, John.
Could you come over and see me for a little bit? I hate to disrupt your evening.
But I sure would like to have a chat.
Yeah, I guess so, John.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dean. Miss Woods is still unavailable.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Lawrence Higby, please. John Dean here.
John, what can I do for you?
Listen, I know this is going to sound unusual, but it's very important. I want you to take down a message from me verbatim. Okay, you ready?
Right.
It's for Haldeman, Ehrlichman, and the president. I do not think it appropriate for me to meet with Ehrlichman at this time, period. I would like very much to meet with the president, if it isn't inconvenient for him, period. I want the president to know that I am not being disloyal, period. I suggest the president turn to Henry Peterson for advice, period. And that's the end of the message. Have you got that, Larry?
Yes?
All right, good. Hello?
Mr. Dean,
Speaking.
the president wants to see you, sir, in the executive office building as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'm on my way.
Oh, John, come in. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Would you like anything to drink? Scotch? Martini? Anything?
No, thank you, sir.
Come on, surely you'll have something.
All right, I'll have a Coke then.
Coke for Mr. Dean, and I'll have coffee, please.
Mr. President, I don't know if you've been told, but I have talked with the prosecutors.
Yes. Kleindienst and Peterson were here to see me today.
Well, I wanted to tell you I was going to the prosecutors. I hope to tell you before you learn from somebody else. And, I didn't feel when I went to them that I was doing it out of any disloyalty to you, I assure you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Gracias. Okay?
Fine, thank you. I hope someday you'll know I was being loyal to you when I did this, sir. I felt it was the only way to end the cover-up, and so I thought I had to tell them what I knew, Mr. President. And now I feel you're in a position where you can step out in front of it, sir.
I understand, John. I want you to know I understand. I'd like to kind of review some of these problem areas that have come up. I'd like to go over them a little bit with you. For example, let's get a little bit of the money problem. I'm trying to sort this out, you understand?
Yes.
Let's take Ehrlichman. What is Ehrlichman's involvement in all this?
Well, Mr. President, both Bob and John guided me in this area every inch of the way.
John, let me ask you this. Have you talked to the prosecutors at all about your conversations with the president?
Well, no, sir, Mr. President. I haven't even talked to my lawyer about anything in that area. Those are in privileged areas as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. I don't want you talking about national security matters. Executive privilege things and newsmen's wiretaps, things like that. Those are privileged, John. Those are privileged. Not that there's anything wrong with them, you understand, but they're national security, and there's no doubt about that. John, do you remember that conversation when you came in to tell me about, you know, the cancer growing on the presidency and those kind of things?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something, John. When was that?
Well, I can't put a date on it off the top of my head. I know it was the Wednesday just before Hunt was sentenced. It wouldn't be that hard to find out.
Good. Could you check on that for me?
Yes, sir.
That was when you brought the facts into me for the first time. Is that so? And when you gave me the whole picture?
Yes, sir, it is.
John, you remember that mention made to you about the $1 million and so forth as being no problem? I was just joking, of course, when I said that.
Well, Mr. President, I'm not even getting into those areas. You can be sure of that.
Good. You know, John, this guy Hunt has caused us a lot of problems. But I kind of understand how sad it is for him. You know, with his wife dead, being in jail like that. I really feel sorry for him. That's why it's hard to see the situation objectively. I guess it was foolish of me to talk to Colson about clemency. Huh? What'd you say? All right, John. Thank you very much for coming in here tonight. I want you to think about all this, and we'll talk again about it maybe tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will think about it. I feel a lot better after this conversation.
Yeah. Well, John, say hello to your pretty wife for me, okay?
I will tell her you said that, Mr. President. I know she'll appreciate it. Just one other thing, Mr. President. Mr. President, you know, I would hate to have anything I've started here by talking to the prosecutors and getting these facts out. I would hate to have any of that ever result in the impeachment of the president.
Oh, no, John, don't worry about that. We're going to handle everything right. You can be assured of that, so don't worry about it.
Good night, sir.
All right.
Hi. President said to say hello to you.
Hmm. How'd it go?
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be at the White House. I won't resign. Not unless Haldeman and Ehrlichman go, too. I don't want to go to war with the President of the United States, but I will if I have to. Listen to me, honey. Things could get very tight financially. We're going to have some big legal bills, and after I leave the White House, I don't know how long it'll be before I can find another job.
I can get a job.
No, that won't be necessary. Not yet, anyway. Where did you go tonight with Jack and Liz?
Oh, we went to see a movie. They're gonna go on to Florida on Saturday.
I'm sorry I've been such a lousy host.
No, they don't want to be a burden. They asked me to join them. I told them I couldn't.
Why not? I think you should.
Oh, John, I can't leave you.
No, don't be silly. I'm fine. For God's sakes, get away from this madness if you can. I'd feel better knowing you're having some fun with them instead of sitting around here waiting for me all the time.
You sure?
Yes. And you go.
Okay.
Wish I could go with you.
You remember we talked about resignations and so forth and so on, that I should have in hand not to be released. But I should have in hand something. Otherwise they'll say, what the hell did you do? After Mr. Dean told you all of this, what did you do? See what I mean? Now, I talked to Peterson about the thing. I said, now, what do you want to do about the situation on Dean and so forth? And he said, he said, I would do not, I don't announce anything now. You know what I mean? But what is your feeling on that? See what I mean?
Are we talking Dean, or are we talking Dean, Ehrlichman, and Haldeman?
Well, I'm talking Dean.
Dean.
At this moment.
All right.
Dean, at this moment. Because you're going to be, you're going to be doing it. I'll have to handle them also, but the point is, what is your advice that we, you see, the point is, we don't have, I just got it. I just typed up a couple just to have here, which I'd be willing to put out, you know. In the event certain things occurred.
I understand.
Because you see, putting just putting the, you don't want to put any lies into it. What's your advice?
I think it would be good to have it on hand.
Yeah.
I would think, to be very honest with you.
Have those others too.
Have those others also.
Yeah, I will. As a matter of fact, they both suggested it for themselves.
Uh-huh.
So I've got that. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. I hit the wrong bell. So, I've already done that with them.
All right.
So, they said, look, they're ready anytime you want them. But, first, what I would suggest is that you sign both. That's what I had in mind. And then we can talk about after, because you don't know yet what you're going. For example, you could go in and plead guilty. You'd have to resign.
That's right.
But on the other hand, if you're going in on some other basis, then I think the leave of absence would be then the proper thing to do.
I would think so.
And that's the way I would discuss it with the others. But if you have any other thoughts, let me know. I'm not trying to press you on a thing.
What I'd like to do is to draft up for you an alternative letter. Put in it both options, and you can just put it in the file.
Uh-huh.
Just short and sweet.
Uh-huh. All right, fine. I had dictated something myself on my own, which I just, which is how this, but you don't have to. If you can give me a better form, fine. I want you to do it either way. Do you? Or do you want to just prepare something?
I'd like to prepare something.
Good. All right, fine.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mrs. Dean? Mrs. Dean, we have a report that you're leaving your husband. Would you care to comment on that?
No, that's absolutely not true.
I gave the president a draft of a letter requesting a leave of absence that included Haldeman and Ehrlichman.
Question is, what is he going to do with it?
He didn't take it, Charlie. He just shoved it back at me.
So what's his next move?
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
If any person in the executive branch or in the government is indicted by the grand jury, my policy will be to immediately suspend him. If he is convicted, he will, of course, be automatically discharged. I've expressed to the appropriate authorities my view that no individual holding in the past or at present a position of major importance in the administration should be given immunity from prosecution. The judicial process is...
Jane, would you come in here, please?
Now, what was that all about?
He's trying to force me back into the fold. He thinks I won't testify without immunity, but he's wrong. I don't have any choice. Jane, I want you to get together all the newspaper clippings from Watergate, all my personal files, the files from my safe, the Houston plan documents, and any related...
Anybody home?
And box it all up for me. In here, Charlie. Good to see you. Thank you, Jane.
Hey, Charlie, nice to see you.
I've got to talk to our boy alone, huh?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll see you around, Charlie. I've got a report. The president says you told him you already have immunity. You say that?
I certainly did not.
Blanzer says the president claims to have you on tape.
You're kidding. I thought he was taping me, but I swear to you, Charlie, I never said anything about immunity.
Okay, but why would he lie?
Probably an excuse to the prosecutors for the statements he just made. Makes their job that much more difficult if they can't offer immunity. The hell with it, Charlie. I'm going public with a statement that I refuse to be the scapegoat on Watergate. Jane, give me Bob McCandless, please.
You'll burn your bridges.
So what? In the last few days, the president has tried to force me to confess. He's blocked my chances for immunity, and now he's calling me a liar.
Yeah, well, you're the one that keeps telling me the president deserves your loyalty.
Maybe Haldeman and Ehrlichman have him in some way, and he doesn't have any choice, but I can't let him think they can run over me like this, Charlie.
John, now don't take this too literally, okay? But I've heard some unpleasant rumors that, well, I don't know, but it said that your opponents might like to eliminate you from the scene. It's probably not necessary, but you might be just a little bit careful in the dark alley department, pal. Cheers.
In his public statement, John Dean said that he would not become a scapegoat in the Watergate affair, and that anyone who hopes he will does not understand the true facts or the American system of justice.
Sorry to bother you, friend. Not at all.
Can you stay for a drink tonight?
No, thank you. Hello? Hello?
Mr. Dean?
Speaking.
It's the president. Please hold on.
Good morning, John. I was just calling to wish you and your wife a happy Easter.
Thank you, sir.
It's a lovely day here in Florida for Easter services.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. And happy Easter to you also.
John, I want you to know you're still my counsel.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, if I may suggest, I think you should talk to Henry Peterson about obstruction of justice in the statement you issued. You should be very careful, sir.
Oh, I will. Well, I guess it's about time to go to church. Have a nice day, John.
Thank you, Mr. President. You have a nice day also. Goodbye. Hello. I'm calling long distance from Mrs. Maureen Dean, room 612, please.
Hello?
Hi.
John?
Yeah. How you doing, love?
Not so good. How about you?
I'm fine. What's the matter?
I've got the most terrible cold.
That's ridiculous. You can't catch a cold in Florida.
I know, but I did.
What are you gonna do about it?
I want to come home. What are you smiling about?
I just like the way you look there.
I shouldn't have left. We don't do very well apart, do we?
No, we don't.
Don't go to New York.
Can't say no thanks to a grand jury.
How long will you be gone?
Just a couple of days. Carol's gonna keep an eye on you. You'll be okay.
I guess so.
You finished?
Yes. You're gonna catch my cold.
That's the idea.
Okay. Stay for days and weeks and never go out of the house or answer the phone. We'll just be warm and sleepy and sexy together.
Mo, it's Jane. Has John reached you?
No, why? What's happening?
The president has fired him.
Oh, can't believe it. Does John know about it?
Yes, he's all right. I talked to him. He says you must call him right away. Try the hotel in New York. Do you have a number?
Yeah, but...
Listen, I have to hang up now. I have to do... tell John that the FBI agents are still here.
Today, in one of the most difficult decisions of my presidency, I accepted the resignations of two of my closest associates in the White House, Bob Haldeman, John Ehrlichman, two of the finest public servants it has been my privilege to know.
This is Mo. Is John there?
I want to stress that in accepting these resignations, implications...
John, I've been trying to reach you.
...personal wrongdoing on their part.
Jane said there are FBI men, and they're in your office right now, sealing up your files.
Look, never mind all that. Listen to me, Mo. This is very important. You know, upstairs in our bedroom, there's a box of documents. I want you to take it up to the attic and leave it there till I get back. Now, look, inside the box, there's a brown sealed envelope. I want you to take it out separately and hide it someplace.
He and I both felt that
This is no time to argue. The FBI could be at the door any minute. Now, please, Mo, do me that favor.
The counsel to the president, John D., has also resigned.
Take a right at the next corner, driver.
No, sir. Stop up ahead.
Now, we can sneak by the reporters through the alley.
We're not using any back doors, John. If they want to know why Nixon fired you, I'll tell them in 4 letters.
Can you give us a minute, please?
Hi.
Why? Are you okay?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
Glad it's over.
Yeah, me too. Charlie's downstairs. You want to say hello?
Yeah, tell him hello.
Why are you so calm?
Why are you so frightened? You don't work for Nixon anymore.
I don't want to go to war with him.
You're already in it. So stop protecting him, will you? Was the president involved in the cover-up? John, any conversations with Nixon that involve criminal conspiracy are not privileged. If you have anything to report about the president and Watergate, for Pete's sake, report it.
It's a long story, Charlie. I told him to be very careful, and I advised him to talk to Henry Peterson. That was on Easter Sunday. That's the last time I talked to him.
You actually have documents showing that President Nixon approved illegal wiretaps, mail openings, and break-ins.
That's the material that Lowe hid for me last night. You want to see it?
Hell no, I don't want to touch it. Neither should you. You're a civilian now. They can nail you for theft. All right, skip that for now. Phew. Now, you're certain that President Nixon said it would be no problem getting $1 million to pay off the Watergate burglars. Is that right?
That's right.
After you told him about laundering money. And you discussed clemency, and a clemency offer was made for Hunt and the others.
Yes, that's right.
And this was after you laid out the entire Watergate conspiracy for him and told him it was a cancer destroying the presidency.
Yes.
The president is a criminal. Sounds like the Godfather. Well, we can't turn those documents back to the White House. They could end up shredded. Tomorrow you'll rent a safety deposit box. I'll draw up some papers and we'll give the key to Sirica. That should protect you and the material. Maybe. Well, we have to move slowly. Now, I don't want you to give this information to anyone. You understand me? It could be your word against Nixon and the others, and that makes me uncomfortable. Makes me dizzy. And you've been carrying a time bomb around in your head. You know, everybody figures an old Kennedy Democrat like me would love to nail the president. Well, let me tell you something. I voted for Nixon last time. I figured he'd do a better job than McGovern. Oh, boy, he better get himself a good lawyer. I'm talking about the P, damn it, the man. Your top dog who lives in the big house. You're the prosecutor, you tell me. Now look, I want John Dean immunized. His information warrants it, he deserves it. Uh-huh. All right, then suppose I just go down and talk to Sam Dash and Sam Ervin's Senate Watergate Committee. We'll sure as hell get some immunity there. Well, that's great. You think about it, too.
What's up?
Morning, Mo.
Morning, Charlie.
Sorry to keep our boy up all night.
It's okay. Have
What'd
some
he
breakfast,
say?
Charlie.
No.
What'd he say,
Coffee?
Charlie?
A coffee, yeah, that'd be good, thanks.
Okay.
Prosecutor thinks your story is amazing. He wants to hear some more.
Good deal.
But he wants you to plead guilty to 1-count felony.
No.
That is ridiculous. I don't want you to plead guilty to anything. I don't think you should, or you have to, or that it's right. It is not right,
Mo,
Charlie.
Mo, will you relax? I refuse to discuss it. We can't try the case in the newspapers while I'm negotiating with the prosecutors. You're a lawyer, Bob. You know that.
John's paying me to handle public relations. Nixon people are after John day and night, statement after statement, leak upon leak. Joe Alsop called him a bottom-dwelling slug.
Yeah. It's for you, Slug.
Can I take it there?
Come on,
Hello?
can't spare the time.
John, thank goodness I found you.
Hi, Mo. I'm sorry, honey. I meant to call you.
They chased me at the supermarket.
Who chased you?
Reporters are everywhere, John. You gotta come home right now.
Honey, I can't right now. This is a very important meeting.
What?
Tomorrow I have to sneak in to see the prosecutors. Just hang in there, love. I'll talk to you later. I love you.
This information about the president's astonishing, but it's not strong enough. See, what we need are more details, more facts, more specifics, and more proof.
I understand, but you
Hold
have
it.
to understand I
No
can't.
buts for these guys. We've already given them enough, perhaps too much. Now, look, we want to tell the truth. We think we deserve immunity when we tell it. And if you're not interested, the United States Senate is. Sam Dash is. If you guys want to talk about this any further, you've got my number.
And you've got our number. If what John says is true, he's fortunate that we're offering him a 1-count felony rap.
That depends on what you're offering Haldeman and Ehrlichman and Mitchell and the President of the United States. You've got to organize your testimony, John, in detail. Fact, 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 once and for all. No errors, no slips. When did you meet them? With the President? Who was there? Where was it? Sorted detail upon detail, day by day, meeting by meeting, supported by documents, memos, logs, anything. Now, you've got to do it.
Okay, there he is over there. Come on, come on. Mr. Dean! Mr. Dean, maybe have one question.
Give us a minute, please.
Mr. Dean!
One question,
Right over here,
please.
Mr. Dean.
Mo? Mo, where the hell are you? Mo? Mo?
What happened, Mo? Look at me, honey. Look at me! What are you doing? What's the point? You're not helping anyone. What are you doing, Mo?
Hiding? Learning how to crawl in dark places. That's what you made out of it. It took nothing to crawl in dark places.
Come on, we're leaving.
What?
I want you to pack some things and get ready to go.
No, I'm
yes,
not
yeah,
going
listen
anywhere.
to me. Now, just listen to me. Bob McCandless is letting us use his beach house in Bethany a while. It's all set. Now, get ready to go.
No, I'm not going.
Now, listen, I've got to work on my testimony. You can type it up for me and get some rest. Now, come on, get yourself...
No, I'm not hiding anymore. I don't want to. I won't do it. Damn it. I won't. Damn it. Anymore. I don't like it. I won't. Come on, you can't try to get me. You just I'm not good. I won't. No. I won't.
Easy, baby. Easy. It's all right, baby.
How's it going?
Slow. Listen, there's something I have to tell you.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. There's a story coming out that I'm fighting for immunity because I'm afraid of being attacked in jail by homosexuals.
That's funny.
What's funny about it?
I'm pregnant. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Really?
How soon do you think he'll be coming in?
I don't know. Sometimes he stays out there for hours.
Hi, Charlie.
You're wasting time. Precious time.
I know. Mo tell you about the baby?
Yeah. Congratulations. They've appointed a special prosecutor, Archibald Cox.
Yeah, I heard. He's a good man.
But now Silbert and Blanzer are really going to try to put it to you just to prove to Cox how tough they are. John, we've got to have your testimony.
And Sirica wants me in court on the Houston plan. I have to give depositions on the Common Cause suit. The Commerce Committee asked me to testify on the IT&T situation. McCandless wants me to meet the press. You expect me to write a Bible on Watergate. I can't do it all, Charlie.
You have to do it all, John. Everything from the testimony to pleasing the press, because that's what Mr. Nixon is doing. You're going to like Sam Dash. He's more like a professor than a prosecutor. He's sincere. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why I hesitate to throw in with him in the Senate committee and old Sam Ervin. Dash just might not be tough enough to take on the White House.
Only Sam Ervin and I know about this meeting, John. We were afraid to tell the Republicans prematurely. They'd raise hell if they knew I was negotiating with you. Now, I'm here to go over your testimony and then make a report to the full committee about whether to grant you immunity from prosecution.
If there's no immunity, there's no John Dean.
Is that so?
Listen, Sam, when I testify, I'm going to be confessing to crimes. My own words will hang me. Now, I doubt very seriously if Haldeman, Ehrlichman, Mitchell, or the president are going to confess, so it's going to be my word against theirs. That's why I need some protection.
I understand. That's why I'm here.
Okay. Now, I'd like to make a statement off the record.
Don't.
I'm inclined to testify before the Senate committee without immunity.
Off the record.
Don't get me wrong, Sam. I'd love to get out of this mess, and I'm not crazy about going to jail, but I don't want to go down in history as a Watergate snitch who talked to save his own hide. I'm beginning to think it'd be worth it to go to prison to beat that rap.
I think you're going to get protection, John. And I'm very glad to hear what you just said. It's important to me.
Nice speech, John. Tell the man your story.
I will not abandon my responsibilities. I will continue to do the job I was elected to do with regard to the specific allegations that have been made. I can and do state categorically, 1, I had no prior knowledge of the Watergate operation. 2, I took no part in, nor was I aware of, any subsequent efforts that may have been made to cover up Watergate.
Not true.
3, at no time did I authorize any offer of executive clemency for the Watergate defendants. Nor did I know of any such offer.
An outright lie.
4, I did not know until the time of my own investigation
of any effort to provide the Watergate defendants with funds.
That's a cleverly worded lie.
5, at no time did I attempt or did I authorize others to attempt to implicate the CIA in the Watergate matter.
That's probably a lie.
6, it was not until the time of my own investigation that I learned of the break-in at the office of Mr. Ellsberg's psychiatrist.
That's a lie.
And I specifically authorized the furnishing of this information to Judge Berg.
He had to. He had no choice.
I neither authorized nor encouraged subordinates to engage in illegal or improper campaign tactics.
That's an outright lie.
So, Mr. Dean, if at this late date you are sincerely sorry for your participation in the sorry picture of corruptions, if at this late date you wish to make amends and let the truth be told,
The successful prosecution of others who are also guilty in this matter. He makes it sound as though I'm blocking the investigation when I handed them the cover-up on a silver platter.
Take it easy,
In exchange for this nonsense, I'm supposed to plead guilty to a felony. All right, what do I do now?
You know damn well what you're going to do. You're going to march into their grand jury, and you're going to take the Fifth Amendment on every question they ask you.
I don't like it, Charlie.
Well, you're going to like the next part, because you're going to put on your little Jimmy Stewart suit and go down and tell your story to Sam Ervin and the United States Senate. So finish that report. Finish it now.
It's finished, Charlie.
You've done a marvelous job, John. It's coherent, it's comprehensive, and it's believable. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. It's a great statement of what happened. But in some places, you're asking for trouble.
What do you mean?
I mean that saccharine self-serving stuff you've got in here.
I don't think it's self-serving. I confess in there.
Generally, yes, you do. But you still got your self-justifying twists here and there. Now, look, John, you're not going up there to win friends or a popularity contest. You have to stand up before a Senate committee and 60 or 70 million Americans watching you on the tube and tell the truth.
What are you talking about specifically, John?
Specifically? Okay. Well, for instance, you're talking about Jeb Magruder. Yeah. You say that before his grand jury appearance, you specifically told him not to lie.
That's exactly what I told him.
Nobody cares if you began by advising him to consult with his wife, his conscience, or the Pope himself. So what? In the end, you sat there and you helped him prepare the lie. You helped him practice lying, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's important, damn it. So say it, will you? Stop trying to make it look like something nice you did, or otherwise, I swear to you, John, those guys are going to tear this statement apart up there. I want you to go through this thing. I want you to take out everything that's soft or self-serving or apologetic or explanatory. You see, what you don't seem to understand is that before you can be resurrected, you have to be crucified. One more thing. I want U.S. Marshals living in your house, guarding you and Mo from now on.
You mean full-time?
Round the clock.
We have reports that John Dean met with the president between 35 and 40 times to discuss Watergate.
These reports are part of a careful, coordinated strategy of leaks to prosecute the president in the press, using innuendo, distortion of fact, and outright falsehood. We categorically deny the assertions and implications.
Ron, do you have any comment on the fact that Judge Sirica has granted Dean limited immunity for his testimony to the Senate?
Next question, please.
Mo? Mo?
What?
There's no baby.
It's okay, Anne. It's okay.
Have characterized their talks as frank and productive. The Senate Watergate Committee hearings will resume tomorrow with the testimony of former presidential counsel John Dean.
I'm bringing a TV set in here tomorrow. I want to see this guy Dean get his butt kicked in.
July 4th weekend coming up.
Yeah, that'll be something.
Right.
Record crowds into and out.
I can't imagine a guy lying that way. About the president.
Long-range weather forecast.
Maybe he's crazy.
Could be.
Now here's Helen
How's
giving
that?
details on some of the activities planned in and around the
Unbelievable.
holiday.
waiting for the hearings to resume, which should be any time now. As you can see, the room is overflowing with spectators and participants, and while we're awaiting the chairman's gavel, we have a few moments for some impressions of John Dean's testimony taken over the past 4 days.
Well, for me, Dean's most impressive performance was the first day when he read a statement outlining the involvement of himself and many others in the Watergate and other cover-ups. And then, in his unemotional monotone, he summarized a long series of alleged meetings with the president, which he said ran the full gamut, from hush money and clemency to the enemy's list and the Ellsberg break-in.
I think the most perplexing incident, though, was the long list of hostile questions from Mr. Dean sent by the White House. Questions that were so inept, the White House later disowned them. There's one thing that there is absolutely no question about, and that is that John Dean is in hand-to-hand combat with the President of the United States. The hearings are ready to resume.
So here is the fifth and, we believe, final day of the testimony of the former counsel to the president, John Dean III.
Get out of town, get some rest. But keep in touch, huh? You're ahead on points, but Haldeman, Ehrlichman, and Mitchell are going to get up there and try to floor you.
I do okay. I did all right, didn't I, Charlie?
You were terrific. But listen, my boy, you owe a debt to this country, and you've only made the down payment.
God.
John! John!
I'm over here, Mo!
John!
You frightened me. I couldn't see you. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I'm sorry I had to call you back to Washington, John, but it's very important.
Too important for me to be seen in your office?
Precisely. John, you look terrible. Are you ill?
Do me a favor, will you, Sam? Get on with it, whatever the hell it is.
Well, John, this is really, really very private. I wonder if,
Bert, would you excuse us a while, please?
Yeah, sure, John. Thank you very much. Now, John, you testified that you had a feeling that when you met with the president on April 15, a feeling that you were being taped.
Yes, I did.
Well, suppose the president taped all of his office and telephone conversations.
Did he?
If he did.
Did he, Sam?
No, if he did, who would know?
General Al Redmond, Steve Bull might, Alexander Butterfield, possibly Haldeman and Ehrlichman. I can't think of anyone else.
Well, who is this Redmond?
He's the head of the White House Communications Agency.
Would this fellow Butterfield know?
Oh, yeah, but I think Redmond's the guy.
Would this Butterfield, would he tell the truth?
Absolutely, straight as an arrow.
It's interesting. John, what would you say if I told you we've already asked Butterfield, and the answer is that the president did tape all of his office and telephone conversations?
Sam, are you kidding me?
No, sir, I'm not.
It's fantastic. absolutely fantastic. Don't you realize what it means?
No, you tell me.
If it's all on tape, then you can hear it and you'll know that everything I've said about the president in Watergate is true. All of it is absolutely true.
I'll tell Sam Irvin. He'll be euphoric.
You guys get those tapes. And the only witness you'll need to get the truth about Watergate is Richard Milhouse Nixon. It won't be you or me or any special prosecutor, Sam. The president will convict himself.
Dear Mr. Chairman, I have considered your request that I permit the committee to have access to tapes of my private conversations with a number of my closest aides. I have concluded that the principles stated in my letter to you of July 6th preclude me from complying with that request, and I shall not do so. Before their existence became publicly known, I personally listened to a number of them. The tapes are entirely consistent with what I know to be the truth and what I have stated to be the truth.
How you doing, Charlie?
Just like Tarzan, Los Angeles agrees with you.
You want to join me?
No, thanks. I do all my running on top of a horse.
How you doing, Mo?
Listen, before I left Washington, I dropped in on Archie Cox. Special prosecutor says he feels you're going to plead guilty.
You might be right.
Well, I told him he could never win his case because he couldn't use your off-the-record stuff in your immunized Senate testimony.
Did he buy that?
Who knows? Anyway, they still want you to plead guilty to one-count felony for the cover-up.
I could get 5 years for that, Charlie.
Maximum. Sirica would go easy. Now, listen, John, you have to do some thinking. If you want to go to trial, fine. I'm ready. It'll cost you a couple $100,000, but take all the time you need to pay me, huh? We might win, we might lose. On the other hand, if you want to plead guilty, that's fine, too.
What do you think I ought to do, Charlie?
It's your decision, pal. All right, I gotta go. I'll call you from Washington.
Okay, Charlie. Thanks for coming by.
Today, the White House refused once again to release the Watergate tapes.
President Nixon and former Attorney General Mitchell have been linked to an IT&T settlement.
It was confirmed today that Vice President Agnew is under criminal investigation in a probe of an alleged building payoff scandal in Maryland.
If I made public these tapes, containing as they do blunt and candid remarks on many different subjects, the confidentiality of the office of the president would always be suspect from now on. My confidence in Mr. Agnew's integrity has not been shaken, and in fact has been strengthened by his courageous conduct.
Vice President Spiro T. Agnew resigned today following a plea of no contest to income tax evasion. Mr. Agnew's plea was equivalent to an admission of guilt.
More coffee, Mother?
No, thanks. I don't think so. If you don't mind, I'd like to sit outside for a while.
Oh, leave me with the dishes, huh?
Not if you've trained John right.
She has.
We'll be out in a minute.
No hurry.
I cannot understand why the devil you think you should plead guilty.
I am guilty.
So is everyone else.
You think I should chance a jury trial?
Why not? People beat the rap in Washington all the time.
I'm going to be the star witness for the prosecution in the Watergate trials. My testimony will have a lot more impact if I've agreed to take my own punishment. Judge Sirica is bound to take that into consideration when he sentences me.
We have a mountain of debts and a big $500 left in the bank.
Yeah, I know. I think we can sell the house in Washington and use the money to put a down payment on something here.
What then? We have no income. You've been disbarred. We're guarded day and night. We have no social life. Mother's very ill. And you insist on going to jail.
Could be worse.
John, you've got to come back to Washington right away. If you don't plead guilty, the special prosecutor, the Honorable Archie Cox, is going to the grand jury and indict you.
But why? I mean, what's the rush all of a sudden? Why can't he wait till after the tape case is settled?
Son, Cox and the White House are really fighting it out. Now, Cox is doing a terrific job, but he needs you committed, a credible witness with nothing to lose.
When, Charlie?
Tomorrow. They're wrapping you up this week, one way or another. Now, listen. You have to decide whether or not you want the truth to come out. If you do, you've got to come back here and plead guilty. What do you say?
Okay, Charlie. You tell Mr. Cox I'm on my way.
Our distinguished guests and fellow Americans, I proudly present to you the man whose name I will submit to the Congress of the United States for confirmation as Vice President of the United States, Congressman Gerald Ford of Michigan.
Sucker.
Mr. Dean, you have heard the charges against you. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Sentencing will be deferred in accordance with previous stipulations. Court is adjourned for the day.
Be alert, my boy. Here comes Archie Cox.
President Nixon this evening has fired Archibald Cox, the Watergate special prosecutor. He has also accepted the resignations of the Attorney General, Elliot L. Richardson, and the Deputy Attorney General, William D. Ruckelshaus.
What does it mean?
The FBI
It means we've been double-crossed again.
the
Nixon's playing rough, very rough.
and of Richardson and Ruckelshaus. Press Secretary Ron Ziegler has stated that the President, this afternoon, ordered the Attorney
Hello?
General
Is Mr.
Richardson
Shaffer
to
there?
discharge the special prosecutor.
Well, listen, sweetheart, can you tell your daddy to call John Dean or to come by my house, please? It's very important.
Also refused.
All right, hon, bye-bye.
Thereupon asked for and received their resignation.
Richardson and Ruckelshaus resigned.
The Solicitor General, William Bork, number 3
Hello?
in the Justice Department, obeyed the presidential order.
It's John
and
Lindsay from
dismissed
Newsweek. Do you want to talk to him?
Yeah.
Repeat,
Hello?
the office of the special prosecutor
Yeah, I just
has
heard.
been abolished.
Turn that damn thing off.
Archibald Cox has been fired.
Off the record? You ready for this? I can damn near hear the boots of marching FBI troops. Yeah, it's a little terrifying, isn't it, John? It's like the president's trying to prove he's above the law. All right, thank you. Good night. What's to stop Nixon from telling some new attorney general to go after me all over again?
Nothing.
Can I withdraw my guilty plea?
No. You pleaded voluntarily.
Maybe he'll win after all, Charlie. Yeah, I was a fool to think I could take on the President of the United States.
Let me just say this. I want to say this to the television audience. I've made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I am not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
I think we should accept the bid on the house. It's fair enough.
I guess so. I don't care that much about the boat. Do you think we could keep the car?
I'm sorry. You know, despite everything, I'm gonna miss this place.
Eagle Bud Krogh, former head of the plumbers unit, pleaded guilty today to charges of lying in connection with the Ellsberg break-in case.
Former White House Appointment Secretary Dwight Chapin has pleaded guilty to perjury when he denied knowledge of campaign sabotage in the last election.
The Internal Revenue Service has acknowledged that it has billed President Nixon for $432,787 in back taxes plus $30,000 in penalties.
Experts have concluded that the 18-and-a-half-minute gap in a crucial Nixon-Haldeman tape was caused by 5 separate and distinct manual erasures.
Yeah. I called Bob and I said, Bob, I don't think the president has all the facts.
That's right. And then you came and sat in this chair. And that's the first time that I realized the thing.
That's right.
And what, now the question is, well, Mr. Dean, why didn't you tell the president before? And your answer there is?
I didn't know. That is absolutely correct.
I don't know if you've heard. The jury found Mitchell and Stans not guilty in the Vesco case.
I know. Not going to help my credibility any.
Never mind. Save your righteous anger for the big trials coming up and get that photographic memory in gear again. What tape you listening to?
18 April 73.
Enjoying it?
I sound like a servile, toadying, sycophantic twerp.
That's when you're at your best.
Thank you.
I'd like your opinion.
On what, Counselor?
I'm not asking as a member of the special prosecutor's staff, just for my own amusement. Our experts say there were at least 5 erasures on the tape. What do you think? Who tried to doctor the tapes?
Oh, I believe Rosemary Woods when she said she did it accidentally.
Very funny.
Well, then I'd say somebody tampered with him who's not very good mechanically. Somebody who has trouble putting his fountain pen together. Somebody who hasn't driven a car in a lot of years. Somebody I know who has the most to lose.
In plain words, you think the president erased the tapes?
He's so damn clumsy, he could have done it accidentally.
In these folders, which you see over here on my left, are more than 1,200 pages of transcripts of private conversations I participated in between September 15th, 1972 and April 27th of 1973 with my principal aides and associates with regard to Watergate. John Dean charged in sworn Senate testimony that I was fully aware of the cover-up at the time of our first meeting on September 15th, 1972. These transcripts show clearly that I first learned of it when Mr. Dean himself told me about it in this office on March 21st, some 6 months later.
You're a liar, Mr. President.
His revelations to me on March 21st were a sharp surprise. Even though the report he gave to me was far from complete, especially since he did not reveal at that time the extent of his own criminal involvement.
How does he expect to get away with it?
In an historic action today, the House Judiciary Committee voted an article of impeachment against President Nixon, charging him with obstruction of justice. 7 Republicans have joined 21 Democrats in voting a second article of impeachment against President Nixon, this one charging him with abuse of presidential power. A third article of impeachment has been brought against President Nixon, charging him with unlawfully defying congressional subpoenas.
Please be seated. The case of the United States versus John W. Dean, criminal number 886-73. Mr. James Neal for the government, Mr. Charles Shaffer for the defendant. Will the defendant please rise?
Mr. Dean, if you wish to make a statement, I will listen to anything you have to say. Thank you, Your Honor. I only have a few words as I stand here at the mercy of the court. The only thing that I would ask for is your compassion and understanding. As you know, I came in here last October 19th, and I admitted my guilt. I've done wrong, and I realize the wrong I've done. What bothers me most is that I was involved in corruption of government and misuse of high office. Realizing to say I'm sorry is not enough. I've tried for the last 18 months to do everything I can to right those wrongs. And regardless of how this court judges me here today, I will continue on that same course. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Dean.
In the criminal case number 886-73, the court sentences the defendant to be incarcerated for a period of not less than 1 year, nor more than 4 years in a federal minimum security institution. The court will grant the defendant until September 3rd to get his personal affairs in order, at which time he will surrender himself to the United States Marshal. Court is adjourned for the day.
Can he use the phone? He has to call his wife.
There's one in here.
One to four. That's years, Charlie. 4 years.
That's my fault. I should never let you plead to Sirica. I'm sorry.
I figured I'd get something like Bud Crow got, you know. 6 to 18 months, maybe a year at most. He hit me harder than Magruder. Even Colson didn't get what I got.
Now look, we've got 90 days to file a motion for reduction of sentence. Maybe he'll reconsider. Come on. Give her a call.
Yes, operator. I'd like to call Los Angeles. Collect, please.
Attention, last call for boarding. All passengers for flight 834 to Seattle Anchorage must be in the boarding area.
Oh, my. You won't believe this. What? I have the worst toothache.
Toothache?
No. That's unbelievable, Charlie. Yeah. All right. Listen, I appreciate your calling. Thank you, Charlie. Goodbye.
What'd Charlie say?
We were had all along. Nixon just released a statement and some more tapes. On June 23rd, 1972, 6 days after the break-in, he met with Haldeman, and he planned to cover up. He planned to cover up 10 months before I pasted myself together and went in there to tell him all about it. Like a damn fool, I was telling him about a cover-up he'd authorized from the beginning.
To continue to fight through the months ahead for my personal vindication would almost totally absorb the time and attention of both the President and the Congress in a period when our entire focus should be on the great issues of peace abroad.
Why didn't he tell the truth? Even now, why doesn't he just tell the truth?
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office. When I first took the oath of office as president 5.5 years ago, I made this sacred commitment to consecrate my office, my energies, and all the wisdom I can summon to the cause of peace among nations. I've done my very best, and all the days since, to be true to that pledge.
Pisces, take care of home affairs before you go off for a good time with friends. Please kin first. and then work on your finest talents and improve them. Dress well and dine well.
Hello? Oh, yeah, just a minute. Charlie.
Oh. Charlie, how you doing?
You're not gonna like this, John.
What's that?
The prosecutors want you to come back here early to prepare to testify in the cover-up trial.
You can tell them to go to hell.
No way.
Charlie, look, I've only got a few days left before I start 4 years in the slammer. I'm not contributing my time to them.
They can do anything they want to do to you.
Not yet.
Right now. You're going to be a good boy, and you're going to come back here and help them. You're going to work in the office when they tell you to, you're going to testify when they tell you to, and you're going to rock in prison when they tell you to.
Charlie, please. Can't they just let Mo and me spend these last few days together?
John, it's up to the prosecutors to recommend a reduction of your sentence, and they will if you cooperate. Unless you want to do what Lydia's doing and serve every minute of your sentence in hard time.
There's nothing down there for us anymore.
Who's there?
It's me, Bert. Car's ready.
Okay, Bert. Can you give us a minute, please?
But it's not time. He's wrong. You have until 5 o'clock. It's only 1.
And they had to change the plan for security reasons. I'm sorry.
I'll get the bag, John. See you outside.
Okay, thanks. I'll be right up.
It's not fair.
I think it's best this way. I really had to.
I miss you already.
Come on, Mr. Dean.
Where am I going?
Port Hollowbird. It's a strange place. It's used mostly to protect witnesses, you know.
You mean protect their lives?
Check. There's mafia guys, heroin traffickers, a couple of former Baltimore cops, some of the French Connection people, labor and business profiteers, a hitman or two, and some of your old Watergate buddies. Colson's here and Comback. Now, you'll fit right in.
Let me help you that way, John. I'll say goodbye now, John.
All right, Bert. Thanks very much for everything.
Our orders from Washington are that you are to be confined to quarters. You will not talk to anyone. You will be segregated from the others. You will be guarded by a deputy at all times. This is your room here. You get 2 personal phone calls a week. Collect only. Once a week, you get paid a witness fee of $8 a day, but we keep half for food and supplies. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello, John.
Hi, Harold.
Chuck. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good, good. Would you like to borrow my radio or anything?
No, thanks, Chuck. I'm fine.
You don't have to eat that. Food here's good. We rotate to cooking every day. Some of these mafia guys are terrific. There's some beef stroganoff in the refrigerator for dinner. I recommend it.
No, thanks. I'm not hungry, Chuck.
Oh, you should eat. I'll take you around and introduce you to some of the other guys. See Jeb Magruder yet?
No.
He can't talk to anybody. He's on restriction. Oh, I see. Well, listen, everything will be fine. Just fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Harold.
Chapter.
We'll see you.
Jeff?
John.
How you doing?
Okay, welcome to the club.
Thank you.
This place looks like the White House with all of us here.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be if we'd used a few of the guys from here to pull off Watergate. I think we're a bunch of amateurs. And they're right.
I'll see you, Jeff.
Yeah.
You're going to work in the office when they tell you to, you're going to testify when they tell you to, and you're going to rot in prison when they tell you to.
Not less than 1 year, nor more than 4 years.
And the way you handle it seems to me is very skillful. Because you putting your fingers in the dikes every time the leaks have sprung here, sprung there, and having people spring them.
I love you. I miss you already.
A full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon for all offenses against the United States which he, Richard Nixon, has committed or may have committed or taken part in during
I'd like
the
to speak to
period
President Ford, please. That is, I'd like to arrange a meeting with the President.
1969,
Yes. Yes, concerning my husband, John Dean.
1974.
Yes, concerning a pardon for him. Hi.
Hi.
Close the door.
Can't do it.
Let me go.
Can't do it.
This is ridiculous.
I know.
Drag me into that closet.
Who's dragging who? God, I missed you.
Missed you. Hey, you brought the stuff. In honor of your birthday.
No birthday cake.
No cake. Nasturtiums. You better be careful with them, you hear?
I'll read to them every day.
Good.
Give us a kiss.
And a small rug.
Give us a kiss.
A small kiss. And a radio.
Give us a kiss.
And a soap dish. Going to issue a statement, John. Senator Weicker is helping me. President Ford has to pardon you. It's only fair.
We gotta be realistic, Mo. He's not gonna pardon anybody else. It's all over now. Even the prosecutors want me here.
I want to help you.
Well, that's not the way to do it.
Why do you say that? Do you like being in this place?
No, I don't like being in this place. I just don't want you to get your hopes up, that's all.
You think I can't be of any use to you? You can't imagine I could do anything intelligent to help you.
I didn't mean it like that.
I'd better be going. I'm not sure the way back.
Who is it?
Chuck Colson, John.
You're breaking my quarantine, pal.
Oh, no. I have persuaded certain authorities to let us engage in conversation from here. From here, right? Provided we don't discuss testimony.
Ah, you're a genius.
Look, Mr. Dean number 3, we got work to do. You gotta get on your horse. I told Magruder to draw up a game plan. We're getting Patty and Mo to do the Today Show, Merv Griffin, and Mike Douglas. Now, my wife will be tough and demanding. Your wife will be beautiful and crying. I got some heavies to put the screws on Ford. Jeb Magruder's gonna get his people together and take out full-page ads urging freedom for the POWs.
The what?
POWs, prisoners of Watergate. Herb will raise the dough.
The days are gone forever.
Well, I know. Well, John, I'll see you. Bye.
Five of diamonds.
How'd you know?
I marked the cards. I haven't seen your wife the last 2 or 3 visiting days.
No, she had to go home.
Home?
Los Angeles. Her mother's dying.
Oh. That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Dean. You got an emergency phone call.
Who is it?
Don't know. Operator said it was an emergency call.
Hello?
John, this is Liz.
Hello, Liz. What's wrong?
Listen, don't be too upset. Mo is okay. She's fine physically, but she's in the hospital.
What happened?
She's run down, John. She's depressed. She stopped eating. Anyway, I sent her to my psychiatrist and he put her in the hospital.
Tell me the truth, Liz. Did she try to hurt herself?
No. I swear it. It's nothing like that. She just needs some rest and some help. That's all.
Okay. Please give her my love. And, tell her I'll call her as soon as I can, okay?
Don't worry too much. I'll keep in touch.
Thank you, Liz.
God bless, John.
Well, you see, my mother's rallied. I mean, she's not in immediate danger. So, I think I should return to Washington to be near my husband. I do feel calmer. And I'm determined to pull myself together.
Mr. Neal, you may question the witness.
Dean, are you acquainted with Mr. John N. Mitchell?
Yes, sir, I am.
Would you, for the benefit of the court and the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, identify Mr. Mitchell for the record?
Yes, sir, I will.
Your Honor, the defense will stipulate that the witness is acquainted with the defendant, Mr. Mitchell.
Very well.
Mr. Dean, do you know the defendant, H.R. Haldeman?
Yes, sir, I do.
Would you identify him for the record, please?
Yes, sir, I will. Mr. Haldeman is seated there in the light blue suit with the striped tie, white shirt.
Now, do you know the defendant, Mr. John D. Ehrlichman?
Yes, sir, I do.
Would you identify him for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ehrlichman is seated there in the dark blue suit and the dark striped tie. Mr. Mardian is seated here in the blue shirt and blue spotted tie. Mr. Ken Parkinson is seated over there in the dark sport coat. Now, Mr. Dean, how many days have you been on the stand, approximately? About 8 days, Your Honor. Actually, 9, Mr. Dean. My advice to you is this: get off the stand as fast as you can and get out of this courtroom before some lawyer thinks of another question to ask you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Hello, John.
Hi, Earl. How'd it go in court today?
Oh, rough.
How so?
Well, they asked me about the hush money, you know. And, I got to the part where I went to see Ehrlichman, and I was explaining that I looked him in the eye and I said, "You know me, John, and you know my wife, Barbara. I know you and your family, and I know you wouldn't tell me to do this if it wasn't really important." And I looked across the court at Ehrlichman. All of a sudden, I started to cry. And I couldn't stop.
I start to cry in here, just reading a book sometimes.
I cried in front of everybody. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do.
I'm afraid Mother's getting worse, John. I'll have to go back again. She wants to see you. To see us together.
So do I.
Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you, sir.
Jim, why was Larry O'Brien targeted at the Watergate? I mean, obviously you and Mitchell agreed on that in Florida with Liddy. But why O'Brien?
Why do you want to know?
Curiosity.
We wonder why in the hell there was a Watergate in the first place. Who wants to know?
We do.
I'll tell you what I think. I think we shouldn't even talk about that stuff. It's over.
I think Jed's so damn depressed because he's holding back on what he knows. Tries my Christian patience.
Maybe Mitchell didn't approve the target.
Doubtful. Try this. Now, Howard Hughes slipped Beebe $100,000 for Nixon. Larry O'Brien also worked on retainer for Hughes. You know, when Larry took over for the Democrats, I think the White House got scared he knew about the money. And they put a bug on him at the Watergate to find out.
Incredible. What a mess.
Well, there's another theory. The people with the CIA connections did a lot better than the rest of us. Paul was an old CIA man. He walked. David Young got immunity. The CIA chief honcho Dick Helms just skated through the whole thing. In other words, I don't know for sure why there was a Watergate.
I do.
Oh, nuts, you weren't there.
It was greed and lust for power. It was fear of exposure and arrogance. It was contempt for the law and amorality. It was stupid obedience and blind ambition. And in that sense, Mr. Colson, I was there.
I have this bulletin. The Watergate jury has returned its verdicts. Mitchell, Ehrlichman, Haldeman, and Mardian were found guilty. Parkinson has been acquitted. Details later on our regular newscast.
I lost all my faith in Nixon when he didn't destroy the tapes.
He's a weak leader and a bad criminal, which is the same thing.
Are you still officially a lawyer?
Oh, now you can do some honest work, huh?
I used to. Sure. Let me ask you something. You're a little wet behind the ears to have been a president's lawyer. How'd you do it so young? Your old man put in a fix?
Afraid not.
How then?
I just kissed a lot of backsides, Joey.
Yeah. Well, then what'd you expect, roses? Yeah. Okay, just a minute. Dean! John Dean! Coming. He's coming. Thank you, Joey. Didn't answer in service. Hello?
John?
Hi, Charlie.
What's the matter?
I was just working out.
You standing or sitting?
I'm standing. Why?
Well, sit down. You're about to find out what a damn fine lawyer I am.
What are you talking about?
Sirica's clerk just called. The good judge has seen the wisdom of our motion. To get to the point, you're a free man.
Hey, don't play around, Charlie.
I'm not playing around. You're free. He's reduced your sentence to the time you served. Pack your bags, buddy boy. Yeah, you want me to call Mo?
What? No. I'll call her. Thanks, Charlie. Thank you very much.
She says, what do you want for dinner?
I just want you, sweetheart.
I'm here. I'm here, darling.
I love you.
Me too.
I can't wait to see you.
Where will you go now, Mr. Dean?
Home to California to be with my wife.
Will you practice law there?
No. I've been disbarred.
You have heavy debts. What will you do?
I plan to lecture and write a book.
How do you respond to former President Nixon's statement that he will forgive but never forget?
I think it's good advice.
Mr. Dean, looking back on it now, do you think that Watergate-type scandals could happen again in this country? Mr. Dean, could Watergate ever happen again